Every day, in every country, every person must relieve themselves. How and where they do it, and what happens to that human waste afterward, is what the issue of sanitation is all about. Many nations face big challenges in providing people with proper sanitation. It's a problem that affects public health and holds back economies, limiting tourism and investment. Sanitation experts say affordable solutions are available, but they also say misconceptions sometimes get in the way. Those misconceptions include the belief that improving sanitation costs too much or requires investment in huge projects. We'll take a look at the sanitation issue in 6 Asian nations. You'll see the severity of the problem and how governments and utilities are working towards solutions. Sometimes their answers are in small-scale, community-level projects. Sometimes they've accepted outside funding to take on the big solutions. In Pakistan, the need to address basic sanitation can be found right in the capital. Surrounded by the Margalla Hills, Islamabad's green appearance pleasantly surprises first-time visitors. But despite its beauty, not all the city's residents enjoy access to clean drinking water, proper sanitation, and other fundamentals of good health. Nasim Bibi, a street sweeper, is not part of the clean Islamabad. She lives in the refuse workers' neighborhood, built along a ravine flowing with sewage water. Bibi earns a living by picking up garbage along roadways and removing domestic waste. But at the end of each day, she returns home to putrid water, garbage, and a demanding family.
गंदगी इतनी है, नाला इतना है, ना बाथरूम है, ना कोई पानी है, ना घरों में कोई नलके है, कच्चे मकान है, पीने का साफ पानी बिल्कुल नहीं। 8-8, 10 दिन पानी के तरफ से बैठे रहते हैं। ये नाला चढ़ते थे वहाँ तक, उस कोने तक जाता है ये पानी, तो बच्चों को लेके छत पे बैठे रहते हैं सारी रात। सुबह निकल जाते हैं हम लोग फिर ड्यूटी के लिए। इतने इतने लंबे कीड़े होते हैं और इतने इतने मोटे चूहे होते हैं जो घरों में घुस जाते हैं। चाहे वो हमारा खाना खा जाए, वो हम खा लें तो बीमार हो जाए।
Sanitation has never been a high priority in Pakistan. Only 42% of Pakistan's 160 million people have access to sanitation facilities, and only 50% of the garbage generated by big cities is collected and removed. Most of that, too, is taken to informal dumping sites. Faulty sewerage systems are causing serious public health problems. The Ministry of Environment says the cost of diarrhea diseases is increasing, currently estimated to be between 55 and 84 billion rupees a year. It's costing young lives, too. Diarrhea kills an estimated 230,000 children under the age of 5 every year. 2008 is the United Nations Year of Sanitation. A target of the UN's Millennium Development Goals is to cut in half by 2015 the proportion of people without sustainable access to safe drinking water and proper sanitation. Many nations in Asia are on a course that will fall short of this goal. Laguna de Bay, near Manila in the Philippines, is an example of why improving sanitation needs to be a greater priority. The lake is the second largest inland body of water in Southeast Asia. It produces about a third of Metro Manila's supply of milkfish and other edible fish. Men like Don Don rely on their daily catch to make a living, but fewer and fewer fish are swimming into his net. That's because the lake is polluted. It could even become biologically dead in a few years if nothing is done. Housing alongside the lake without proper sanitation facilities is the #1 problem. Don Don's family is among 400,000 people living illegally around the Laguna de Bay. Most have come in from the provinces and live in desperate conditions. Many children fall ill from waterborne diseases. 2 of Don Don's children have been stricken with diarrhea.
Anak ko kasi nagtayo-suka. Nalaman ko na ganun ang sakit ng anak ko dahil sa tubig, sa doktor na nagaling. 4 days. 4 days kami sa ospital. Kasi 50-50 anak ko eh. May namatay na nga dyan. Yung March yata yun, katatapos lang nagka-40 yung bata dahil din siya sa tubig. Sa didi yun ha, inuuga sa didi na sabi hindi daw pinakulo.
Laguna de Bay is not only a dump site for rubbish, it's becoming a huge sewer for people who don't have proper toilets. Out of more than 300 houses in Dondon's community, only 3 have toilets with a septic tank.
Kaya kung may CR tayo, doon na lang sa CR tatae, ay dudumi. Eh kung dito naman walang CR, diretso sa tubig. Diyan ang dumi, pupunta sa tubig at sasalok ka naman. Kasi kaunting ano lang yun, wala na yung dumi, sasalok ka naman, gagamitin mo doon sa tubig na yun.
The amount of domestic waste in the water of Laguna de Bay has surged past industrial and agricultural waste over the past 14 years.
Kung hindi natin ma-address ngayon, halimbawa itong year na to, no? Tapos hindi tayo pa gumagalaw, hindi tayo naglilinis, yung tuloy-tuloy na 5 years, ang hirap i-reverse. So kung ngayon, magkakaroon tayo ng mitigation, yung ibig sabihin ng engineering intervention, scientific intervention, hindi na ganun kataas o kamahal.
As an officer in his community, Dondon once asked for their chairman's help regarding communal toilets with a septic tank, but nothing has materialized yet. Other communities around the lake are suffering too. In March 2008, more than 2,000 people from the province of Calamba, Laguna were hospitalized after an outbreak of typhoid fever, a disease caused by water contaminated with fecal coliform. No such outbreak has happened yet at Dondon's village, but with the condition of their community, it's possible that one day people here might also fall ill.
Kung wala kang maayos na toilet, kung saan nagbabawas ang mga tao, at kung yung pit privy, hukay, tapos sabay tatabunan lamang, pwedeng mag-sip yun, yung dumi, sa groundwater. Umpisahan talaga yun ang mga infectious diarrhea, ito mga E. coli, yung mga yan, typhoid fever, yan ang mga pinakamadalas na kanilang mga karamdaman.
Clean water and sanitation facilities are basic needs for everyone. If Dondon and his family are deprived of it, their future along Laguna de Bay is a daily duel with disease. Conditions in many parts of Indonesia are much the same. Too many people living in crowded conditions along waterways that get used as public toilets. Direct disposal of human waste into rivers in Indonesia has become a serious threat to public health, especially for children. This is indicated by the high infant mortality rate caused by diarrhea, almost 100,000 babies a year. But in some Jakarta districts, we find solutions. By investing in small-scale, community-based wastewater treatment and by educating the public about good hygiene habits, the battle is being won. For 11 years, Mrs. Nur has been teaching children by the Kalimalang and Sunter riverbanks about healthy habits and a cleaner environment. She also encourages the community to do more to keep the environment clean and healthy. That includes campaigning for the installation and use of public toilets.
Pertama kali saya datang ke sini, anak-anak masih belum ada yang sekolah seperti sekarang ini. Sepertinya masih masalah pendidikan masih semrawut, apalagi tentang kebersihannya di sini. Sebelum ada MCK di sini, anak-anak, orang tua pada buang airnya di situ, di sungai yang mengarah ke Sunter.
Nur ngajarin nggak boleh mandi di kali.
At the Kalimalang and Sunter riverbanks, the community can now enjoy public showers and toilets built by the government. To provide basic sanitation, especially toilets, the community-led Total Sanitation program is working to change people's behavior. They're changing their habit of disposing of human waste in open areas. Part of this change comes from providing education to children from the earliest level.
Sekarang anak-anak sudah paham. MCK itu adalah sekarang untuk tempat kita menjaga kebersihan badan. Sekarang anak-anak sudah paham mau buang air besar, mau buang air kecil, atau untuk mencuci pakaian.
Rasul mau punya MCK yang besar, yang banyak airnya. Bisa nggak bayar, gratis.
Another example is the Petojo area in central Jakarta. There, public facilities that combine showers and toilets have been upgraded to employ the decentralized wastewater treatment system, or DWATS. Using a simple biological treatment, up to 90% of wastewater can be purified and recycled. That includes water from showers and laundry too. No septic tank is used. Wastewater is treated in an enclosed, watertight system with what's called a baffle reactor and a biodigester. The process offers the additional benefit of producing biogas. This gas can then be used as fuel for cooking. People in these Indonesian communities are finding that education for children and adults alike is one part of the sanitation solution. Use of technology that makes sense for a community's sanitation needs is also key to addressing Asia's sanitation problems. Community organization and grassroots participation can also be key to making proper sanitation a priority for government officials. India's Bangalore is a city known for its IT industry, but there are many parts of its outskirts that are not part of the high-tech boom. In slums like Sudamnagar and Byapanahali, people lived for generations without proper sanitation facilities.
ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಟಾಯ್ಲೆಟ್ ಕಟ್ಟಿದ್ವಿ ಎಲ್ಲರ ಮನೆಗೆ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಟಾಯ್ಲೆಟ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಇದೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಮುಂಚೆ ಓಪನಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಗ್ರೌಂಡಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು. ತುಂಬ ಕಷ್ಟಪಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಇದರಿಂದ ಕೆಲವು ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಹಾವು ಕಚ್ಚಿ ಸತ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ತುಂಬ ಕಷ್ಟ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅನುಭವಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈಗ ಒಬ್ಬೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೂ ಒಂದೊಂದು ಮನೆಗೆ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ತುಂಬ ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಆಗಿ ಸೇಫ್ ಆಗಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾರೆ.
The turning point was when a community volunteer group formed to help residents organize. Known as AVAS, the Association for Volunteer Action and Services works with the local government and outside aid agencies to make a difference.
ಮೇಡಮ್ ಮೊದಲು ಟಾಯ್ಲೆಟ್ ವಸತಿನೇ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಆವಾಸ್ ಸಂಘಟನೆ ಮೂಲಕ ಏರಿಯಾ ಹೌಸಿಂಗ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಯಿತು.
By first ensuring that poor communities have stable land rights, AVAS is then able to negotiate with the local government and area water authority to ensure a clean water supply and construction of public toilets.
ಆವಾಸ್ ಬಂದಿದ ಮೇಲಿಂದ ನಮ್ಮ ಏರಿಯಾಗೆ ಬೇಕಾದಷ್ಟು ಕೆಲಸಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಆದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಏರಿಯಾ ಲೀಡರ್ಸು ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಒಕ್ಕಟ್ಟಾಗಿ ನಿಂತು ನಾವು ಕೆಲಸಗಳನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ.
Later, residents found that while public toilets were a step forward, more was needed.
ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಟಾಯ್ಲೆಟಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೋ, ನೀರು ಹಾಕೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅದು ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಟಾಯ್ಲೆಟ್ ಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಕುಂಡ್ರಿಸ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಗಲೀಜು ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ರು ಬರೋವ್ರಿಗೂ ಆಚೆ ಬರೋವ್ರಿಗೂ ಒಳಗಡೆಯಿಂದ ಹೋಗೋವ್ರಿಗೂ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಸಿಂಗ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಇವಾಗ ಹಸಿಂಗ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಚೆಂದಾಗಿ ನಗರ ಥರನೇ ಇದೆ ಇವಾಗ.
This goal, and installing water taps in every home too, has also been achieved. By negotiating as a group, residents have arranged to pay for water taps in their homes through an affordable installment plan. They've also succeeded in having water and sanitation bills sent at more manageable intervals.
ಅವರು ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಎತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಹೋರಾಟ ಮಾಡಿ ನಮಗೆ ಏನು ಅನುಕೂಲ ಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ ಆ ಅನುಕೂಲನ ನಾವು ಹೋರಾಡಿ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟಿಂದ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನು ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಆದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ನಮಗೆ ನಾವು ಕರೆದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೂ ಕೂಡ ನಮಗೆ ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದಂಥ ಸಂಘ ಆವಾಸ್ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಕೋಪರೇಟ್ ಇದೆ.
Avas and others have found that even in poor communities, people are willing to pay for upgrades and better services if the payments are structured in a way they can handle. Anita Reddy founded the Avas Community Volunteer Organization.
We recognized that the community itself was now willing to invest in water and toilets and sanitation. They were willing to pay something basic if they had the access to it. So accessibility and affordability of communities and their participation in decision making would be the crux of what has made this project a success here.
Community involvement in making sanitation a priority works and gets the attention of local officials. And the solutions that help these Bangalore communities are affordable, small-scale projects. Sometimes, sanitation solutions on a larger scale are needed. The Vietnamese city of Can Tho secured outside funding help for its large-scale approach to wide-ranging sanitation problems. Before 1960, Sangtoi Lake in the center of the city supplied water for nearby residents, but in more recent years, it's played a different role as a destination for wastewater and rubbish. Every day, people would throw anything and everything into the lake. During the dry season, a strong odor wafted through the surrounding neighborhoods. Mr. Lê Văn Tu has lived near the lake for almost 50 years. He says he's put up with mosquitoes and the lake's bad smell for a long time.
Nóng nực thì ở đây nó cũng bốc cái hơi lên cái mùi nó hơi hôi, với lại muỗi rất nhiều.
Like elsewhere in Asia, rapid urbanization and a growing population led to the lake's problems. More and more people moved into simple lakeside homes that lacked proper drainage or sanitation facilities. Some residents even left the area because they couldn't stand the polluted air and water. Those who stayed wished the local government would clean up their lake and install a working sanitation system to make the lake as clean as it was before. That wish is coming true by way of a project funded by the World Bank to upgrade infrastructure in 4 Vietnamese cities, including Can Tho. Public sanitation is part of the investment. The project began in October 2006, and already many residents who've been away can hardly recognize Sangtoi Lake when they return home.
Dự án này là nhằm cái mục đích là cải tạo những cái khu ô nhiễm, tạo thành cho nó có những cái hệ thống là xử lý nước thải hiện đại và thu gom nước thải để mà tránh cái ô nhiễm môi trường, tạo cái cảnh quan xanh, sạch, đẹp cho cái khu nội ô của thành phố. Thì cái dự án này đang được triển khai một cách là đồng bộ và đúng theo tiến độ được quy định của nhà tài trợ là Ngân hàng Thế giới. Và hiện nay chúng tôi đã thực hiện xong cái giai đoạn 1.
The project is to be complete in 2010, but these days, almost 7,000 local residents are breathing fresher air by a cleaner lake. They've increased their awareness of environmental protection. The story of Sangtoi Lake's renewal is one many people hope can be repeated in other polluted lakes in Vietnam. Mr. To An Truong, who had left the area during the construction project, is now happy to see the changes in the lake day by day.
Nước không chảy được, nước rồi mà có một số nhà ta không ý thức được vệ sinh, cứ thảy rác xuống, rồi phóng uế bừa bãi dơ lắm, cái nước không xài được, như bây giờ trong gì là có thể xài được.
After suffering years of bad air, mosquitoes, and the constant threat of disease, the city's decision to undertake the project has contributed to a better quality of life for this lakeside community. China provides another example of a big city success story with its cleanup of Suzhou Creek. Of its 125 kilometers length, a 53-kilometer stretch flows through the city of Shanghai, where it joins the Yangtze River near the famous Bund. Shanghai people call Suzhou Creek their mother river. Zheng Xianjiang is a senior photographer with a magazine called Shanghai Pictorial. As a professional photographer who's lived by Suzhou Creek for more than 30 years, Mr. Zheng has observed and recorded its changing history through his camera lens.
这是一个苏州河旁边的一个以前比比皆是的一个垃圾码头。苏州河在很长一段时间，它承担着上海的生活垃圾的这个运输，就是它在那个苏州河上来来回回每天走的，有相当一部分都是运垃圾的，所以它有无数个垃圾码头在那个苏州河两岸。
In the 1920s, the factories that sprang up along Suzhou Creek began discharging pollution into its waters. By the 1950s and 60s, the problem was becoming serious, particularly in the Shanghai section. With the start of China's economic rise in the late 1970s, the waters of Suzhou Creek turned black and foul-smelling. Wastewater from factories and houses poured directly into the river, killing the fish and shrimp and causing severe harm to the natural environment. Eventually, the municipal government decided to launch a campaign to clean up the creek and got financing help for the huge project from the Asian Development Bank.
那么我们呢，就是把苏州河消除黑臭作为一个系统来考虑。那么主要采取的措施，第一个是治本的措施，就是截污治污，建设污水处理厂进行处理以后排放。第二呢，就是一个调和水体，把苏州河变成一条单向的河道，那么使得它水就是由西向东这样来进行单向的一个流动。那么第三呢，我们建设了一条抱气富氧船，那么对苏州河进行充氧。
In addition, the waterway was dredged. The old factories and houses along it were demolished and relocated. The rubbish disposal wharves were removed, and trees and bushes were planted along the banks.
这呢是大概也是排了有5年，也说明了一个苏州河的一个根本性的变化，就是海鸥呢翩翩归来，重新回到苏州河。
The local residents now take pleasure in their river, and many do their morning exercises on its banks. The 11-year project, costing $2 billion, has transformed the once black and filthy creek into a place for sightseers. It also sets a good example to follow for other cities in China with polluted rivers. Zheng Shenzhang is paying another of his regular visits to witness and capture the ongoing revival of Suzhou Creek. Asia's sanitation problems are widespread, but successful solutions are being applied, whether they're community-based programs or large-scale investments in infrastructure. Leaders are stepping up to meet the challenge. More politicians, ministers, mayors, and community heads can follow the example of their colleagues who are working to make healthy sanitation a reality for Asia's children and their parents.